We're rocking and rolling. Savage Sports Pod.
Sir, y'all know what this is. Recap Sunday, NCAA football, NFL football, and boy, was this weekend interesting. You know what? Let's kick it off with college from the start. Let's just do it like that. College was interesting because, like the NFL, about week 4 through week 6, we saw a whole bunch of changing going on the coaching side of it. So college finally decided to jump on this bandwagon. All right, they decided to jump on regardless of what was happening. That coaches needed to be let go. So I mean, the biggest one, FSU. We go right here real quick. Biggest one, I guess, because this program was completely in disarray. So we're gonna touch on this a little bit, but we'll save most of it for our Wednesday NCAA football talk. But FSU, let's go.
FSU lands a commitment from Mackenzie Milton. This is a huge, huge, huge get for Florida State because they're stuck with a lot of young quarterbacks. We got two true freshmen, and no disrespect, I love Jordan Travis. He's a great, great, great athlete, but he's not a quarterback typically. He doesn't have a very good deep ball. He's not very accurate on his passing game, but the guy can make plays. He can run. He can scramble. He can hit the short throw pretty well, but he's just not what Mike Norvell needs in his offense. But we will touch on this more next Wednesday. Uh, Mackenzie Milton has committed to FSU. Huge news for the Noles, and great pickup. If you don't know who Mackenzie Milton is, he was the quarterback for UCF who he suffered a horrific injury, an Alex Smith type injury. Uh, there was even talks that he would lose his leg at one point, but uh, uh, it didn't happen. And he's fully recovered. UCF was actually considering starting him a week ago, but that was the season that UCF claimed the national title. Mackenzie Milton ran the table with him. He's a great quarterback, a great athlete, beat Auburn, and not sure what bowl that was they played in. I want to say Peach, but I could be wrong. But yes, Mackenzie Milton is a no. So big things happening for Florida State. But here's the big breaking news of the day. Something I've been calling all season. Gus Malzahn has been fired at Auburn.
Done. Stick a fork in them.
Wow, wow. Great move by Auburn. Great move. And here's why. Because Hugh Freeze was going to end up going somewhere. Now, there's two names right now that I've read about that Auburn's looking at. Mario Cristobal, head coach of Oregon, and, of course, Hugh Freeze. Mario Cristobal is not going to be Auburn's answer. He is barely winning in the Pac-12.
That's
Hugh
true.
Freeze is the answer. Auburn has the money to go get him. Go get Hugh Freeze, Tigers, and let him beat up on Saban like the good old Ole Miss days when they were giving Alabama fits. If I was a betting man, Hugh Freeze to Auburn. Calling it now. He will be Auburn's head coach.
If he's looking for the big program that has at least a name tied to it, more than likely, yes. I'm still waiting on Jim Harbaugh to go disappear and that news to come out. Do I want to see him go down to Auburn? I honestly don't. I honestly don't. I, I would like to see him go somewhere else other than the SEC, since how the SEC is supposedly a powerhouse, but that's not the case. I honestly want to see the Big 12 step back up and be that Power Five like it's supposed to be, because that's not the case right now. But
Yeah.
you know, we'll
Texas, Oklahoma, they're not.
nah, we'll see how that one works out. But definitely some big news going. Auburn making some moves, FSU making some moves. It's all on the right track. But that's
My
something.
big thing for FSU is if with Gus Malzahn being fired, that puts defensive coordinator Kevin Steele on the market. Go get Kevin Steele, Knowles. Let's get him as our DC. Fire Fuller. He allowed 35 points from Duke, even though we beat them. Rock and roll Knowles, we beat them 56-35. A team we should beat, but we beat them how we should beat them by hanging 56 on them, right? But yes, go get Kevin Steele, Florida State.
Speaking of hanging,
let's boost it. Put that money on. Let's go get Kevin Steele.
yeah. Speaking of hanging, Alabama, number one team in the country, right? It should have been like it turned out. Hung 52 points on Arkansas, 52-3, number one team in the country. So they done what they were supposed to do, solidifying that they should be the number one, especially considering schedule and how many games they've actually played this year. Um, and we'll just roll into the whole how the games went, pretty much. Ohio State for one, 5 games, Big Ten retracted its rule because of COVID. Now, do I think this is on the political side of it for boosters whatsoever to have the Big Ten have their name stuck into something, considering that Ohio State is currently ranked number 3 and going against Northwestern? Yes, I honestly think it is a political move considering that 5 games versus 10, 11 games, they'll end up playing 6 at a bare minimum. Political move. Am I going to hate that they're going? No, because I'm a Buckeyes fan. But if they can't even complete 6 games, I mean, 5 games during the season, all right, got it. I've watched my Buckeyes literally run 13-1 and lose 1 game to a top 5 school before, and then pretty much get blown out. So is 5 games honestly enough for them to really bank on them being BCS championships? Maybe, maybe not. Have they shown that they can play when they have played? Yes. Is their secondary suspect? God, yes. So one way or another, we're going to see what's going to happen.
Time out. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, I said it. I'm not being biased. It is suspect.
You said Ohio State BU.
They are. They are. It might be the coaching. It might be the defensive side of it. I don't know. It might be the coordinator. I have no clue. But yes, we'll say when it comes to about the second half, it's either the secondary is lightening up or they're tightening up one way or another. But it's definitely suspect on that part of it. So,
but the real question is, though, do they deserve a playoff spot? Ohio State's going to beat Northwestern, right? There's no doubt about it. But do they deserve that playoff spot, that 4th spot? Ohio State is a great team. Yes. But they haven't played the games.
That's my point, too.
I really feel Texas A&M at this point deserves that spot over Ohio State. Is Texas A&M the better team? Texas A&M is not the better team. Ohio State would mop the floor with A&M. However, A&M played a tough schedule. They only lost to Alabama.
Well, see, this is the thing, though. That's what I hate about the SEC. SEC has a chance to put 2 teams in the BCS championship. No other conference has a chance to put 2 different teams in the BCS championships. I mean, ACC might this year.
Yep, they very well could.
But
if Clemson beats Notre Dame next weekend, then you could see 2 ACC teams in the college football playoff, and we could very well see 2 ACC and 2 SEC teams in it this
year. Yeah, but I don't see that honestly happening. No other team gets as much clout as the SEC, so it really doesn't even make a difference.
And speaking of playoff spots, Gators, Gator Nation, you could have been a shoe-in for that playoff spot, but what'd you do? What did you do? You lost to a terrible LSU team by doing one of the most bonehead moves I've ever seen in my life. You take the man's shoe and you throw it 20 yards down the field, and it cost you the game. And anytime the Gators lose, I'm a happy man. Look, this was a good weekend. Florida State basketball destroyed the Gators.
Oh, we ain't
North
talking about basketball right
Carolina,
now.
North Carolina, North Carolina beat Miami like they stole something
Yes,
in
they
their
did.
own house, 60-26. Florida
Yes,
State
they
beat
did.
that same, by the way. And Florida State beat Duke. It's a good day to be an old.
True.
Go Nobles.
Very, very true.
Don't rain on my parade. I am happy, happy, happy.
All right, FSU did. Yes, they upset UNC before UNC comes in, upsets Miami. So this is what we're talking about, like on upsets this week. Miami, if they have won, possibly, along with Florida, been in talks for competing for that BCS fourth spot. Now, with them both losing, and not just by a little bit, pretty much getting blown out, their talks are pretty much out the window. I don't see them really dropping anything less than possibly like 15th or down to 15 whatsoever. But then that opens up the door for teams that did not even play this weekend, like Texas A&M, possibly Cincinnati, possibly. Um, God, it's a couple other teams that would go in there, but even if they decide to throw USC in there, which makes no sense to me because they literally only played 3 games, they might as well play the preseason. But it opens up a lot of opportunities, and will throw that BCS championship pretty much out the window. And that's why I say it's going to be looking like 2 SEC teams and maybe Ohio State and either Notre Dame or Clemson, more than likely Clemson. I don't see Texas A&M getting in there, which regardless of whoever wins the SEC title, whoever the runner-up is more than likely going to be in the BCS championship.
Agreed. Yeah, the only way Clemson doesn't get the playoff spot is if they lose to Notre Dame again. I don't see it happening because Trevor Lawrence will be playing in this game. However, the ACC did announce today that if for whatever reason Notre Dame and Clemson cannot play due to COVID, Notre Dame is automatically the ACC champions.
Because they beat Clemson before.
Correct. So does that change things? I got to read more into it, and we'll talk about this Wednesday. Is it considered a fourth for Clemson? I wouldn't think it would be, but I'll have to read into it more.
Is Clemson the one that has the COVID, or is it Notre Dame?
Neither right now, but basically what the ACC is doing is they're preparing, right? They're saying, look, if something happens and it's a COVID issue and we can't play this game, Notre Dame automatic ACC champions. Something that does not make me happy with Notre Dame, though, is they declared that once this season is over, they will not join the ACC and go back to independent. But get this, Notre Dame in basketball is a member of the ACC conference.
I know.
So why not just do the football too? I don't understand it. Why are you staying independent? I don't get it.
No restrictions, no rules whatsoever, and choose who they want to play without having to sit there and play horrible teams, stack their schedule, or make their schedule easy depending on their ranking. Same thing every other conference or every other team does. Alabama will sit there and play William and Mary at the first game of the season, and then followed up with Georgia Southern, knowing good and well they're going to beat the brakes off of them. Ohio State does it occasionally with certain teams too. USC, every team is guilty of it until it comes to their conference. But they'll set up those games for like little cakewalks and warm-ups before they play someone else that's actually going to give them a run for the money. Is it a scrimmage? Got it. But Notre Dame doesn't want the responsibility of having to compete in the ACC each year, because them being independent sets them up for success because they have nobody else to fight with. And you just have to go off of their schedule and what they win.
I'm a diehard Florida State fan, right? Everybody knows this. The ACC is really not that tough of a conference. Notre Dame would run it beside Clemson every year, if we're being honest. Notre Dame would actually have a way to the playoffs every year outside of being independent and continuing to play the USC's. Michigan's in shambles, so I don't blame them for wanting to continue to play Michigan. But yeah, I, I don't understand it right now. I don't understand Notre Dame's logic, but hey, it is what it is. They do your thing, Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's them trying to maintain their independence, literally, and not have to worry about getting knocked out in a championship game when they can keep their perfect record or their almost perfect record of 10-1, 11-1, whatever you really want to call it, and still have a chance to be in the talks of a BCS championship. But yeah, college. So who was it? Texas A&M got canceled. Cincinnati's was canceled. Ohio State. That's three teams within the top six, pretty much. Um, Indiana, whatever the rankings. Yeah, however it
Georgia,
goes.
Georgia played. They blew out Missouri as they should have.
Yeah,
Uh, a different Georgia team at the end of the season. They've come out pretty stronger than they were at the beginning of the season. So tip of the hat to Georgia. Y'all played well.
yeah,
I think this Georgia team would have beat the way they're playing now.
yeah. But any given Saturday in this case. But honestly, it doesn't really change the
I would
rankings.
I would like to hit the top 25, and no, I'm not going to do the entire 25. I'm just going to hit the top 10. Read this list off to you, Griff. So at number one, we got Alabama,
You going AP or
Notre
coaches?
Dame, AP.
Gotcha.
I don't agree with Alabama being first. I believe Notre Dame, they beat Clemson, who was number one at the time. I think Notre Dame should be number one, but they fall into the second spot, followed by Ohio State, Clemson, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, Indiana, Iowa State, who has a hell of a football team, by the way. Uh, and hey, Coastal Carolina, big shout out to you guys. Number
Yep.
nine, and falling in the 10th spot, Georgia, and Florida has fallen back to 11th. And then I just want to throw out the Miami loss to North Carolina cost them, and they dropped all the way down to 19th.
I don't get that.
So your top five teams, we're looking at Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, and A&M. Again, that Ohio State right now they would be making the playoffs, but I don't know. We got to see what the committee says. I can't wait to see that.
Is Florida still ranked
Because
number 11
I really
specifically? Why is Florida ranked number 11? Is that to try to give them hopes of even like cresting that top five somehow miraculously if something awful happens? I
know
mean, why?
the LSU Florida was ranked sixth,
It,
and the loss to LSU knocked them down to 11th.
wow,
They're
Miami dropped all the way back to number
ranked
19.
yeah after
UNC was ranked.
after North Carolina. I can't believe North Carolina went into Miami and just walked the dog. I think North Carolina just scored another touchdown as we speak.
It still doesn't make a difference. I don't understand that
I
one. How does Miami drop down 10 spots after losing to a ranked team, but Florida, same record, only drops down 5 spots when they lose to a team that is probably like 97 out of 100 and like 30 some teams? I don't understand that
I
one. But
think because I think my logic and my personal opinion on this is because they know Florida shouldn't have lost that game, and honestly, it shouldn't have. Had it not been for the Dingus throwing the daggum shoe and causing that penalty, Florida was going to win that game.
it don't matter. It's still the same. A loss is still a loss regardless. But I mean, as
I
far as
agree. I agree.
I mean, either way, we'll see. We'll touch up some more on Wednesday on our college stuff. So let's go ahead and hit this recap for this NFL. I know we got the Steelers. Steelers playing right now. Is that what I'm thinking?
Yes, it's 7-0 Pittsburgh. They just kicked the ball to Buffalo in the second, so Pittsburgh does have the lead. I do expect the Bills to pull the game off though.
Yep. Yep.
But here's a game I've been waiting for our pod. So as soon as this game I'm about to bring up ended, I could not wait to talk about it. Philly and the Saints. Jalen Hurts, former Oklahoma Boomer Sooner. That's the only college I will recognize. Jalen Hurts.
Former Alabama, got set on the bench for Tua, turned his knee over, as Sam likes to say, and then transferred schools over to Oklahoma. Soon to be the Eagles' primary starting quarterback.
And oh my goodness, Josh Allen just fumbled. Oh, they recovered. Bills recovered.
Oh man, speaking of fumbles, who
But
was that was fumbling left and right today? Was it the Saints fumbling left? No, it wasn't them. Oh no, that was Arizona. That was Kenyon Drake that had fumbleitis today.
who did he play for?
Kenyon Drake?
Alabama.
Probably.
Philly beat the Saints. How much longer do we have to watch Tebow 2.0 take the Saints down? How much longer do we have to watch this?
I will say this much.
I'm over it.
Hill did not do bad in passing. The dude threw for 290-something yards, okay? It wasn't the fact that it was his passing. It was his pocket awareness. He was honestly just getting murdered in the backfield, especially in the fourth quarter. They were literally just tearing him up. He wasn't reading the blitzes. He wasn't, reading them, closing in the pocket. It was bad that fourth quarter. Now, as far as the passing side of it, he did step it up this game, which is a plus side, less scrambling, more passing. So I don't think he should be benched completely just yet. It all depends on if he recreates this performance next week. I see if they're losing possibly, big time, I can see Winston possibly stepping in. But if it's still a close game and Hill is still actually passing like a quarterback's supposed to, granted, I did see him miss a couple of big throws, and I did see who's my boy? Cook bailed him out of one that would have possibly been an interception, just got over top of the defender for a touchdown. So he's not necessarily doing too bad, but they still lost against the Eagles. And I don't know if this is a new trend or not, but NFC East, what are y'all feeding them all of a sudden? You go Seattle, and then you go Washington. Well, not Washington as I was Steelers. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Washington beating the Steelers, and now you have the Eagles, whether it's a new quarterback or not, knocking off the Saints. These are top teams that the NFC East has come in back-to-back weeks and knocked off a division that does not have a winning record at all. And then the Giants, unfortunately, got demolished today. And, yeah, I don't even know what to say. I don't know. But the only thing that happened in the East, Washington knocked off San Francisco, which San Francisco has been in disaster mode ever since Kittle went down.
Horrible team 49ers have been, except for when they play the Rams, and then they're just freaking. I don't know what happens when San Francisco plays the Rams. The Rams just fall apart. It's irritating. But speaking of the Rams, they got the Thursday night victory over the Patriots. And shout out to my boy, Cam Akers. He rushed for more yards as a rookie in Rams history. He broke the Bus's Jerome Bettis' record. So congrats to Cam Akers. I've been saying this for a while now in a Rams group I'm a part of. I think the lack of training camp because of COVID and no preseason, I don't think Cam was used to the speed of the NFL, because we can admit the NFL moves a lot faster than college. But he's starting to come into his own. The last 4 weeks, Cam Akers has really been showing out. And Jared Goff had a good game as well. He didn't golf it up and screw up and throw picks all over the place. Aaron Donald and that defensive line ate Cam Newton all night. The Rams defense performed amazingly. They got a pick six, got me 28 fantasy points. So, hey.
Can't argue with that one.
Shout out to Cam Akers. I think Cam Akers is going to do big things in the league. I really do. He doesn't have that breakthrough speed that Todd Gurley had in his prime, and other running backs have, like Dalvin Cook and Once they get out in the open, you're not catching those guys.
Thank you.
Cam doesn't have that kind of speed, but he is an excellent running back. He is coming into his own, so I think the Rams should be very proud of what they've got going right now.
Yeah, he's doing good as a rookie the last couple of games. I'm not going to hate on that one right now, though. I would say the rookie of the year as far as running backs is going. It's got to be Robinson for Jacksonville, even though they got demolished by the Titans, but he pretty much broke the free agency rookie record for yards from scrimmage. That dude literally has been a beast for Jacksonville this year. They did not really put up a fight against Tennessee, which was expected, but shiny. But they did play right now against the number one running back in the NFL as far as statistics go right now, which was Derrick Henry, the dude they call him Mr. December. Broke off for 215 yards against Jacksonville. Dude literally just ran all over them. It was like every other carry he was breaking off 20 or 30 yards for no reason whatsoever and then pushing in for like 2 TDs. So this is the time, I guess, where Tennessee literally depends on him more. But it all depends on how they finish up. They still got Green Bay to finish up the season with, which is going to determine whether or not the Colts or Titans win their division. The Colts got one hard game left, which I think is against the Steelers.
And the Colts did win today. Who did they beat?
Oh, man, they beat the Raiders. They destroyed the Raiders, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, they smoked them. So, but yeah, Derrick Henry, shout out, man. I can't knock him. That dude went wild today.
Yep, he did. He did. And then Chicago. As some people like to say, the Bears. I'm not going to say that they are on the right track. But if you're going to come out and try to make a statement, regardless of whoever it is against, it was against Houston, by the way, you're going to come out and win 36-7. Is it a good picture for them? Is it a good recovery, I guess you could say, for Trubisky? A good breakout game for David Montgomery, who took off on one play for sure. So Bears, yes, way to come out and make a statement and try to say we still have something to fight for. Now, are they going to make it into the playoffs? No. It's going to take acts of God, some flash floods, and COVID to hit pretty much every other team in their division and lose the last 3 games for them to have a chance to get into the playoffs. But it's something to build upon. So Chicago, great job actually stepping back up and kind of displaying that first 5 games of the season where y'all were on a winning streak until you play the Packers. So way to make a slight recovery.
I'll go shout out to Miss Griffey. Her Cowboys demolished the Bengals today.
Oh, man. Shout out to Dallas. I didn't even see what Zeke done today, but apparently he wasn't even. I don't even know. The Bears. Yep, the Bears. They won. Dallas won.
Check.
Got you.
All right. Yep.
The big game I want to talk about is Mr. Todd at Miami playing Mr. MVP at Kansas City. Yes, we just talked about the Bears. We just talked about them. Kansas City is supposed to be the most explosive offense in the NFL. It's supposed to just be dominating teams. Miami Dolphins with Tua pretty much pushing Kansas City to the last couple minutes of the game for a victory. My question I want to ask, is it something wrong with Kansas City? Is it their defense, or is it just the rest of the league has caught on to what Kansas City likes to go do? Or was Mahomes' superstar season completely a flop almost?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that the league has caught on to him. Mahomes, that bonehead play, did you see how he lost 20 yards, ran 20 yards back? I mean, bonehead game for him today. But they pulled off the win. So, I don't know. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make it.
I don't think so either. I mean, 33-27. I mean, right now, Mahomes is pretty much doing what who's your boy? Oh, Fisheye. Jameson Winston.
You should be playing quarterback for the Saints, but continue.
Mahomes is doing what Winston was pretty much doing, except they're winning. Right now, he's throwing for 300 plus yards a game, which you're putting the ball in his hands. He's putting the team on his back, but he's still throwing picks right now this year. Whether it was 3 this game or just like 1 or 2, but the last couple of games, he's thrown at least 1 or 2 picks that I've seen. So is his little superstar year over? Do I think he's still going to break records? Yes. But something apparently is going on up there in Kansas City, whether it's a disconnect with the defense and the defensive coordinator or the receivers or whatever else it is. But they're not winning like everybody would have expected them to be. And it might have been Mitch Foles out there regardless. But yes, Chicago still got to win. So maybe they'll break 500.
Maybe. The Packers, they slipped by the Lions today. They won 31-24. Didn't get to watch that game, but it looks like it was pretty close.
Yeah.
And how about the Chargers beating the Falcons? Atlanta is a hot mess right now. Matt Ryan's got to go. And they're pretty much locked into his contract. They've got benching, man. Just get rid of the headache. Just pay him the money to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Same with Kirk Cousins. Put him on the bench because they lost to Tom Brady and the Bucs today. Dalvin Cook did his thing, 102 rushing yards. He got a touchdown. He looked great. Honestly, the Vikings were running all over the Bucs today. But Dan Bailey, normally a very reliable kicker, and he was crap today.
Yeah. I would say this. Minnesota is they're better when Cousins actually spreads the ball out to the receivers first and foremost. Don't get me wrong, Cook is still going to do his thing, but the games they've been winning is when he's actually been hitting the receivers, when Thielen and Jefferson get at least 5 to 6 catches each, and then you have Cook sitting here throwing the rest of it off balance. If it's just Cook running, though, I don't think – but they've won one game when it's basically been Cook putting the whole team on his back. But if Cousins is actually spreading the ball around and throwing like he was supposed to be doing, then Minnesota actually wins. They put up a fight. But they did lose. Now, this is the one that I'm honestly surprised about. Probably the biggest upset I would possibly say of at least this week so far. Denver over Carolina.
Shout out to Major. Always pulling it off, Major. If you're watching, they shocked me. I picked against them, so.
I did too, but Denver over Carolina? Denver doesn't even have a set quarterback besides Drew Lock coming in and out. They don't even have the primary receivers. Tim Patrick's.
Carolina was without Christian McCaffrey again this week, which hurts. In fantasy football, McCaffrey, if you ever watch this podcast, you killed my season.
Help mine.
Oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Still got that strong hand, huh?
I'm healing. It's getting there. Little surgery. But it's getting there. They turned me into Terminator. I got I'm metal now.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, it's been some upsets, but it's been some pretty much how we pictured it would play out.
I got to disagree on that upset of the day, though. Philly beating the Saints is my upset of the day. Especially
I will take that one.
With a rookie quarterback in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I will take that one. You would figure, though, that the Saints would possibly be ready for Jalen Hurts, even though they haven't seen him, knowing he's a scrambling quarterback, and the quarterback that you have starting for you is a scrambling quarterback. You can't prepare your team against the same type of player.
Very true. Very true. I mean, if the Saints would do the right thing and put Jameis Winston in the ball game, they probably would have had a different outcome.
Oh God.
We touched on this, but I got to give Jalen Hurts credit because the Saints defense isn't a bad defense.
No.
They've got a very good defense.
They were ranked number 1, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So, Jalen Hurts, hey, hats off to you, man. Those Ohio State DBs that the Saints got obviously couldn't keep up.
It's like that, huh?
Look, I got to take my shots when I can.
True. Very, very true. But definitely a good week. It's definitely been some good football. It hasn't been any blowouts whatsoever besides in college. NFL has not really been any blowouts. The biggest blowout would have been Seattle versus the Jets, which that's a given. The second one would have been, I guess you could say, Chicago to Houston and then Tennessee to Jacksonville. But other than that, it hasn't really been a big blowout. Now, the one that we're going to have to see is Pittsburgh. Is Pittsburgh going to blow out their opponent? Are they going to blow out the Bills? Or are the Bills going to come around and pull a Washington somehow and just take it to the Steelers?
Well, the Bills are, it's a commercial break right now, but the Bills are in the red zone.
Miss Jackson, we family. You ain't supposed to side against me.
Get him, Miss Jackson. But I still see the Bills winning this game. I think I think the Steelers are playing it right, and they're putting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. But halftime adjustments, I think the Bills will come out, and I think they'll win this one. It's going to be a tight game, though.
True. I mean,
2 minutes to go in the first half. The Bills are on the 16-yard line and driving. So, there it is. Overthrown.
That's about old Josh Allen. I'm not siding against you.
Who Josh Allen reminds me of? Big Ben in his prime.
More agile and faster. I can see that, but more agile and faster.
And they both will run the ball and take the hit. Yeah.
Which I don't think Big Ben had a chance not to take the hit and everything. The dude was like a lumberjack running down the field, except he's just big.
Yeah. And let's hit tomorrow night's game. We got the Browns and the Ravens coming up for Monday Night Football, Griff. I know we touched on it Thursday with Justin. Of course, I missed Thursday. Sorry, guys. I have a hectic work schedule right now. But do you think the Browns going to squeak in on this one? I think they're flying under the radar a little bit.
I would say this. Baltimore secondary is definitely better than the Titans, and that was the strong point of the game when they played Tennessee. The secondary and Baker Mayfield baking cakes all day long, just making money against that secondary. Now, Baltimore, on the other hand, I won't say they have better receivers. That's not the case against Tennessee. But their defensive secondary is, I would say, more than likely in the top 10 considering who they got back there with Peters and Humphreys on either side of the ball. And you really, really only got Landry as your receiver.
Very true.
Now, if they can shut down Lamar, Dobbins, Ingram, and Edwards, like they did pretty much Henry, granted, 50 yards is still 50 yards, but that's shutting down Derrick Henry. Few teams have done it this year, Steelers being one. I see Baltimore running away with it. Well, if they can shut them down, Cleveland will win if they shut them down. But if they don't shut down Lamar Jackson, that run game, regardless if they have a non-existent passing game, even though he gets Andrews back or should have Andrews back, Cleveland can win. But I'm going to say Baltimore's going to beat Cleveland, and Baltimore has to beat Cleveland to have a chance to even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm my spoiled brat trying to get some lovings right now. Uh, yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens could possibly run away with it, but you can't count out the Browns' defense. I think the Browns actually have a pretty good defense.
They do.
Quick update: the steel curtain shut the Bills down. They had to settle for a field goal, so I'm sure Miss Jackson is really, really happy.
Yes, that's because I'm the only person in my family, Auntie, that actually doesn't go for the Steelers. I'm the only Titans fan in my family, aside from my wife. She's a Titans fan also, at least now. So yes, I gotta say the Steelers because if I don't, I would probably die when I go back home and visit some point in time. I like the Steelers, if that makes any consolation. I like the Steelers defense, hands down. They always have a great, great defense. I've never been a big fan of Big Ben, but their defense is always pretty much top notch. It's like Baltimore saying that they have a great defense. You know what's going to happen. Um, Lies, not a Bears fan. Um, who else? Who else goes on that defensive side that's normally shut down besides Baltimore and the Steelers? Um, Chicago.
The Rams got a pretty solid defense too.
Yeah, Rams have been a solid defense for a while now, especially since they got Aaron Donald. They honestly have one of the top defenses, regardless. The Bears definitely have always had a nice defense. Their offense just,
It's horrible.
I was trying to think of something more savage to say.
It going into the draft because the Bears have the weapons, they just don't have the quarterbacks.
I wouldn't even waste on the quarterback right now, honestly, because they're not going to
Really,
really get anything.
you would? Are you thinking more of a trade? Maybe bring Jameis Winston or somebody else other
No,
than what you
no, I wouldn't.
you got to make a change of quarterback. So it's either going to be in the draft or you're going to have to pick up a free agent or
I
make
would
a
go
trade.
free agents. I wouldn't even trade down my draft picks right now, honestly, unless literally something completely dropped into their lap for a good price. Nothing like a Khalil Mack trade whatsoever. But
Winston's only got a 1 year contract with the Saints.
all depends. But now you got to think about this when you're going to have three starting quarterbacks, technically, well, three quarterbacks on your team. I ain't even going to say starting quarterbacks because, yeah, we already know what's happening back there. But I wouldn't trade away my picks if I was Chicago for a quarterback or break the bank for Winston or some other free agent because you still got to worry about Khalil Mack. You at least have to keep your defense together, and you still possibly got to re-sign Robinson too in a couple of years and give him an extension or something. I'm saying they should take their draft picks and at least beef up the offense in some way, at least give you some extra options, another running back, two or three receivers, and possibly another safety that Jackson can sit there and groom to replace him in another year or two. And then
Yeah, but
worry about your quarterback later.
do you, do you think Winston's going to have a high price tag? Because I don't. He hasn't played all year.
Yeah, he will.
I don't think he'll have a high. I think you could get Jameis Winston for cheap right now. And then if Jameis Winston performs, and the turnovers have been fixed and all that, I think you give him a bigger contract. But
You talking Tannehill status?
yeah, because let's be honest. Jameis is learning from two of the best, Drew Brees and Sean Payton.
That's true, but the Bears' offense sucks.
But the Bears have quality weapons on offense.
So
Their problem is the quarterback.
true. True.
Hector, you're a Bears fan, right? He's a Bears fan, right? Hector,
He's confused.
if you're still watching, what do you think? Well,
He
you
does
just
not. Yeah.
I don't think Winston is the answer, but it's still better than what we have. Exactly. And if you've got the pick six by the Bills just took it to the house. Pick six for Buffalo. But
No.
back to Hector. Yes, I believe that Winston would be a better option than what you currently have in your quarterback rotation.
Mm, he won't have any crab legs over there. Yeah, I don't think he likes the cold either. So I don't see him going up there.
I think he would be a better option. But at the same time, I mean, you said don't waste your picks or whatever, but
Yeah,
what if, hypothetically, you work a deal with the Jets and you can get Trevor Lawrence?
they would have to break the bank for that,
Maybe.
which means they're probably going to be, because the Jets probably want to shore up their defense first and foremost, how many points they've been giving up. So you're looking at getting rid of Khalil Mack or some of their linebackers that they drafted up early, or one of your cornerbacks or something, and possibly Allen Robinson, along with 2 other draft picks, first rounders more than likely.
Well,
They're going to have to break the bank.
I'm tossing hypotheticals here, Griff. I'm tossing hypotheticals.
Okay. Hypothetically, if they had a chance to trade with the Jets and actually go ahead and get Sunshine, then yes, go ahead and take that one. I wouldn't even argue with you on that one, but you might as well be prepared for him to get lit up his first year or two. Something's going to have to give if you're getting Sunshine from them.
Buffalo missed the extra point.
You got Gostkowski?
They lead 9-7.
They got Gostkowski as a kicker? Is that what's happening?
I have no idea what's happening. Kickers are horrible. Is it me or has kickers just been off this year? A lot
Except
of
for Young Koo. Young Hong Koo.
That dude's killing it, man. He's killing it.
Yeah.
Too bad his quarterback sucks and he plays for the Falcons, but
now that might be interesting if you send Winston down to Atlanta.
that could be very interesting.
Yes.
But
yes.
you would have to, if you're Atlanta, because you're stuck in Matt Ryan's contract. So if you're Atlanta, you would have to hope Winston would come at a cheap price, which I think you can get Jameis Winston cheap right now.
Crab legs all day long. I can't help it, man. Who gets in trouble for stealing crab legs? I mean, honestly, regardless of how long ago it was, I'm like.
Look, we have to be honest about this. That man did not steal them crab legs. That dude said, "I'll hook you up," and then the manager says, "Whoa, what are you doing? Because crab's expensive." And then that guy was like, "Oh, he stole them." We're gonna be honest about this. You know that man was getting a hook up from an employee. That's all I got.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You see Winston's stomach, man. Come on. He like to eat. That man like to eat. I'm not judging him for eating, but that man like to eat.
That's true.
But yeah, I ain't got too much more, man, besides sit here and possibly watch this Steelers-Bills game and see what actually happens. I'm going to say the Steelers are going to win it. They have to win it.
Nope.
I'm going Steelers.
It is halftime. Bills lead 9-7.
Family ties. I got to go Steelers.
He's lying to y'all. He knows the Bills going to win. Will not. You cannot.
All right,
No,
we'll put
that's
like
all I got this. That's all I got tonight too, Griff. I mean, unless you want to touch on anything else, I think. Are we ready to wrap her up?
Yeah, I ain't got nothing else to touch on. Wednesday, we'll hit y'all up with the college, and we'll dive a little bit more in depth with these coaching changes and definitely this BCS playoff standing, along with the games that are going to be coming up as far as conference championships, who's possibly going to be in, who's possibly going to be out, and might even give you a couple of statistics on who we think is actually going to win. Bowl games, if they're played.
Next week is championship weekend. The championships for the conferences are being played next weekend. So,
yep,
we will definitely be touching on that.
Definitely so. Other than that, hey, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Sunday, and hope y'all get to watch a good game. If some people are sad tomorrow, I understand. Just go ahead and watch Monday's game against Baltimore and Cleveland, and it happens.
And as usual, thank you guys for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes. Be sure to tell your friends. If you know people that love football and they just want to hear a couple of friends talk football, because that's all, we're not experts. We just love the game of football.
We experts. They don't get paid for it. And don't have all the politics.
Yeah. That's true. ESPN needs to hire me and Griff.
I ain't signed no contract. Trying to control me.
What's on TV?
Can't control me.
Guys, share. Tell everybody about us that you know that loves the game. Again, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, you can always rewatch us here on Facebook after our lives are published.
Definitely so. We'll see y'all on Wednesday. Everybody have a good evening.
Have a good night, guys.